went round and round. Each time 'twould miss, we'd steal a kiss, and the merry-go-round went. The merry-go-round broke down and made the darndest sound. The lights went low, we both said oh, and the merry-go-round went. Oh, what fun, a wonderful time, finding love for only a dime. The merry-go-round broke down, but you don't see me frown. Things turned out fine, and now she's mine, 'cause the merry-go-round went. The merry-go-round broke down.
Plenty of Mickey Mouse here, and Popeye, Bugs Bunny, and the Flintstones. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jerry Beck, and this show is Cartoons in Stereo. Cartoons on the radio? Sounds like a crazy idea, but it's not. Music is the backbone of most animated cartoons and the soundtrack of my life. I'll be playing the songs, usually popular tunes from the 1930s, 40s, and into the 60s that were in the great animated shorts and features of those eras. We'll even tackle television cartoons and rock and roll. I opened the show with band leader Russ Morgan doing a cover of The Merry-Go-Round Broke Down. We know that song. You may know it from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It was in there, but it's the theme song of the Looney Tunes. And, of course, it was selected by Carl Stalling, the Warner Brothers musical director for the cartoons, and he used all sorts of popular songs of the 1930s and 40s in the great Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies, and he selected this song in 1937 to be the theme, the lead-off for all the Looney Tunes cartoons, and that's why we all know it today. It was great to hear this original cover of it from 1937.
Tigers snore. I've heard them roar and snore before. I don't see why you make a fuss about the hippopotamus. Your dog bow wow, your cat meow. I know that you can milk a cow, but Mickey makes me laugh and how, and I want Mickey now. So where's that Mickey Mouse? That flicky, wacky, wicky, Bolsheviki Mickey Mouse. Vote, ladies and gentlemen, vote for Mickey Mouse. And make him our next president. The Congress he is sure to say, meow, meow, okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yes, yes. See, wee, wee, how dry I am, have one on me, and then he'll cry, give me the facts, give me my axe, I'll cut your tax. He'll show us all what can be done when he's in Washington. So let's give the good old White House to tricky, wacky, wicky, Bolsheviki, Mickey Mouse.
And that was Ben Burney, the old maestro, singing about Mickey Mouse. What? No Mickey Mouse? What kind of a party is this? That was symbolic. It was sort of an anthem of the 1930s because Mickey Mouse was expected. Every time you went to the movies, you expected you were to see a cartoon. It's like today when I go to the movies and we see the coming attractions. If I don't see the coming attractions, I feel cheated. I didn't get my money's worth. That's how people felt about cartoons back in the 1930s and 40s. And so what? No Mickey Mouse? People, when they went to the theater and didn't see a cartoon, that became a slogan, which they turned into a very popular song. Mickey, of course, was the cartoon superstar of the early 30s, but it was Felix the Cat who preceded him. Here's the king of jazz, Paul Whiteman and his orchestra, doing a rendition of Felix's popular theme song.
Felix the Cat. public servant, life-preserving man. Ooh, I wanna be a lifeguard with the $1 million coat of tan. I'll sit up high on top of a wave and keep my eye on every cutie while on duty. So, if you want a lifeguard, you can bet your life that I'm your man. Oh my gosh. I'll sit up high on top of a wave and keep my eye on every can of spinach. So if you want a lifeguard, you can bet your life that I'm your man. If you want a lifeguard, you can bet your life that I'm your man. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. You can bet your life that I'm your man. Mammy.
Melody time, it's time to swing along to a happy land of song where love is the thing. Melody time, it's time for sweet romance. Won't you give your heart a chance to join in and sing? Take a tip from the birds, you don't need words, for music has charms. It's the language of love when your love's in your arms. Rhythm and rhyme sure help a heart along. So come on and sing a song. It's melody time. Melody time, it's time for sweet romance. Won't you give your heart a chance to join in and sing? Take a tip from the birds, you don't need words, for music has charms. It's the language of love when your love's in your arms. Rhythm and rhyme sure help a heart along. So come on and sing a song. It's melody time.
This is Jerry Beck, and you're listening to Cartoons in Stereo on KPFK. That was Buddy Clark at the height of his fame. He recorded the title tune for Melody Time, a 1948 Disney compilation feature, and Buddy did the track in the film itself. This is a cover version he did that's a little slower and a little longer, but really, really delightful. I love these odd Disney songs, the ones that don't get repeated over and over again. It's a Small World or Spoonful of Sugar. There's so many wonderful songs in Disney films that are overlooked, and so this theme from the opening of Melody Time is one of my favorites. Before that, we heard I Want to Be a Lifeguard from the 1936 Popeye cartoon of the same name. But the track we just listened to was actually a cover done for a tribute album, a tribute to Sammy Timberg, the composer, the musical director of the Fleischer Studios of the 1930s, and wrote most of the songs that you hear in the Betty Boop and Popeye cartoons. The version we just heard was sung by Richard Halpern and music by Dean Mora. Sammy Timberg wrote the music, Bob Rothman did the lyrics, and I love those cartoons and I love those original songs. The old Hollywood cartoons from the 1930s are loaded with great original songs that are just never heard again. The reason they're loaded with original songs was due to the success of The Three Little Pigs and Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf. That was such a sensational song for Disney. Sold so much sheet music and records that every studio said, we got to have original songs now. We got to do original songs. And they did. And most of them are great. And most of them were also not successful. Of course, the Fleischer Studio was Disney's greatest rival during the 1930s and really the only studio to produce an animated feature to rival Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Snow White was such a big hit in 1937 and 1938 that all the other studios jumped in, wanted to do their version of that kind of a movie. But what could that be? MGM didn't think their animation department could handle it, so they made The Wizard of Oz. That was sort of their take. Fox put Shirley Temple in The Bluebird. And Paramount, though, did have some faith in the Fleischers and built them a beautiful big new studio in Miami, Florida, and asked them to come up with something. And that something was Gulliver's Travels that came out in 1939. And here we have Bob Zerke and his Delta Rhythm Band doing a cover of one of the big hits from Gulliver's Travels, It's a Happy Day.
It's a happy day, doodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-lay. For you and me, for us and we, all the clouds will roll away. It's a happy day, doodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-lay. The sun shines bright and the world's all right. It's a happy day. 24 sunbeams are dancing round my face. 80 more are dancing every place. It's a happy day, toodle-oodle-oodle-oodle-lay. You can't go wrong if you sing this song. It's a happy day.
That was a fun track. Doris Day doing a duet with Bugs Bunny, a.k.a. Mel Blanc, from the 1949 film My Dream Is Yours. And in that film, there was this wonderful dream sequence where Doris is telling her son a bedtime story about the Easter Bunny, and the next thing you know, we're in his dream, where Doris and Jack Carson are the Easter Bunnies, along with Bugs Bunny, and they do this fantastic song of asking the son, Freddie, to wake up. Freddie, get ready, get up. And Friz Freleng did the animation in that sequence, and there was even a cameo from Tweety. Before that, Raymond Scott's Powerhouse. There is no way I can do a show like this and not feature Raymond Scott. Powerhouse, probably his most famous theme. Heard in many, many cartoons, most famously in Baby Bottleneck, a Bob Clampett cartoon that takes place in a baby factory. And anytime there was a factory sequence in a Warner Brothers cartoon, Carl Stalling would play some part of Powerhouse. And so there was no way to get around it. And it's been used lately, and The Simpsons and Ren and Stimpy have used it. Great song, and Raymond Scott, whose many, many works we will hear in some of the upcoming shows. Continuing, here's Judy Garland from the 1962 UPA feature, directed by Abe Levitow, written by Chuck Jones, Gay Paris.
Roses red, violets blue, the rhyme is old, but love is new. When love is new, the heart is young, and that is why the spring has sprung. The spring has sprung for hers and his, and that is why the sap has riz. The breezes buzz and roses is where roses never was. All the world is love's a lover, 'cause a lover loves the world, and that is why roses red, violets blue. Let me make this clear to you. When you're in love, it's always true. The goddamn roses must be red and violets must be blue. Love's a lover, 'cause the lover loves the world, and that is why roses red, violets blue. Let me make this clear to you. When you're in love, it's always true. The goddamn roses must be red and violets must be blue. All this simply means, Paris, I love you.
do they call when the chips are starting to fall? Just when the villains are winning, the trouble's beginning to brew. The man called Flintstone, that's who's always there to rescue some maiden fair. A man with instincts unerring, full of the old daring do. The man called Flintstone, that's who.
He thrives on a diet of danger, and he's no stranger to the long chance and the instant romance.
Who is the man who seems more than merely a man? Who chases character shady while every lady melts? The man called Flintstone. Who else? Who else? Who else?
That was the opening theme from The Man Called Flintstone, 1966 feature from Hanna-Barbera. And that theme, that cocktail-era space-age theme, does not get enough radio airplay. In fact, it doesn't get any radio airplay, and I'm glad I had a chance to change that today. Before that, the classic Henry Mancini Pink Panther theme with a great tenor sax solo by Plas Johnson, created by Mancini for the 1963 movie, Blake Edwards' film, The Pink Panther, and of course used subsequently for years, decades, by DePatie Freeling for their wonderful string of Pink Panther theatrical cartoons and TV cartoons. Just a great piece of music that stands on its own regardless, but the fact that it's so associated with the cartoon, I love that. That brings us to TV time, the time in the program where we listen to a few tracks from classic TV programs. There was great music from there, too. Here's a few that represent the rock and roll side of things.
Josie and the Pussycats, long tails and ears for hats, guitars and sharps and flats, neat, sweet, a groovy song, you're invited, come along. Hurry, hurry, see all the pleasure, or maybe friends. We could be a ninja or perchance be with us in Bangkok, makes no difference.
bliss of loving you. I just can't believe it's true. I just can't believe the wonder of this feeling too. I just can't believe it's true. Ah, sugar. Oh, honey, honey. You are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. Oh, honey. Oh, sugar, sugar. You are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. When I kissed you, girl, I knew how sweet a kiss could be. I know how sweet a kiss can be. Like the summer sunshine, pour your sweetness over me. Pour your sweetness over me. Oh, sugar, sugar on me, honey. Pour little sugar on me, baby.
Make life so sweet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pour little sugar on me. Oh, yeah. Pour little sugar on me, honey. Pour little sugar on me, baby.
I'm gonna make life so sweet.
Yeah, pour little sugar on me, honey. Ah, sugar. Honey, honey. You are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you. Oh, honey, honey. Sugar, sugar. Honey, sugar. You are my candy girl.
I'm not sure how many times the Archies followed the Violent Femmes, but that's just what happened there. We just heard Sugar Sugar from 1969, one of the biggest top 10 singles of all time, which of course originated from the Filmation Archies TV show. Don Kirshner put that show together, the music that is, and that's Ron Dante doing the lead vocals. And it was the number one song from 1969 and still played on oldie station today. And again, originated from a TV cartoon. Love it. Before that, Eep, Op, Ork, Ah, Ah, which means I love you. And of course, that's a great song from the 1962 Jetsons episode, Jet Screamer, which was originally sung by Howard Morris on that show. This was the Violent Femmes cover version that was done a few years ago for a tribute album to TV cartoons using all kinds of alternative groups. And I think they do a spectacular job with that song. It doesn't feel like it's from the 60s at all. It does feel like it's from the 80s, 90s, or 2000s. Fantastic. We started this set with the actual track from the opening from Josie and the Pussycats, 1970, with Patrice Holloway singing the lead vocal. I really like that song. I like a lot of the Hanna-Barbera openings, which were mainly composed by Hoyt Curtin, with Hanna and Barbera having enough input that they got their name as co-creators of all of the theme songs, including the Flintstones and the Scooby-Doo and on and on and on. Josie and the Pussycats were, of course, Hanna-Barbera's answer to their rival Filmation's Archie show. And since the Archies had such a great hit with the Sugar Sugar, they had to have their version of that sort of thing, and it became Josie and the Pussycats, which I thought was a pretty good show. This is Jerry Beck, and you're listening to Cartoons in Stereo on KPFK. Warner Brothers cartoons are my favorites. Can you tell? I mean, I've only written 3 or 4 books on Warner Brothers cartoons. I did one called Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies, a complete illustrated guide to the Warner Brothers cartoons. I did the 100 Greatest Looney Tunes. I did Looney Tunes, the Ultimate Visual Guide. I've done so many I've forgotten all the titles. But I won't forget, and I can't forget, the great music from Carl Stalling and the songs that are in all the Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. Here's just a sample.
I love to sing about the moon and the June and the spring. I love to sing about a sky of blue or a T-42, anything with a swing or two. And I love you, I love to sing.
Come, children, it's him at the radio station.
La-dee-do, Major Boat's gonna get me. Got through Yale with boola-boola, la-dee-do. Oh, microphone's got me. I love to sing. I love to wake up with the salsa in my mouth and wave the flag with a cheer for Uncle Sammy and another for my mammy. I love to sing. I love to sing about the moon and the June and the spring. I love to sing about a sky.
I can remember that night in your arms, underneath the pagan moon, dreaming away on the pillow of palms, underneath the pagan moon. La 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 la, la 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 la. Every kiss was a sweet pagan prayer to your eyes and your lips and your hair. Only the thought came a little too soon as we watched the pagan moon.
Aloha!
La 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 la, la 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 la.
The 5 o'clock whistle's on the blink. The whistle won't blow, and what do you think? My papa's still in the factory, 'cause he don't know what time it happens to be. La da 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 da.
What you got in the basket, gorgeous?
I got a little bunny rabbit which I'm taking to my grandma's to have, see?
Just a sample of the great tracks from the Warner Brothers cartoons. We just heard I Love to Singa from, well, a cartoon called I Love to Singa, sung by Owl Jolson in that film. Of course, it comes from an Al Jolson film, The Singing Kid, 1936. Great film and a great song and really unforgettable. It's one of the ones that people ask me about all the time. People don't remember the name of the cartoon. People don't remember the cartoon itself sometimes. They just remember that song, and they ask me, what cartoon had that song in it? And then I have to tell them, the cartoon is called I Love to Sing It. Pagan Moon, from one of the early harmonizing merry melodies from the early 30s. These were the black and white merry melodies from the early period. Harmon and Ising, two great animators who started the Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies series, used to work for Disney before that, and then later went on to create the MGM cartoon department. This song, Pagan Moon, is from a Warner Brothers film called Safe in Hell, a real pre-code picture, 1931, Safe in Hell. We also heard The 5 O'Clock Whistle, which was a pop song, big hit for Woody Herman and Ella Fitzgerald. Here it was hilariously sung by Bea Benaderet as an obnoxious teenager in Little Red Riding Rabbit, a great Friz Freleng cartoon and really an unforgettable cartoon, a character, and song. Now we come to a segment of the program where I play a complete musical soundtrack from a classic Hollywood cartoon. From MGM, Tex Avery's TV of Tomorrow, 1952. I'm your host, Jerry Beck. Join us again next time for Cartoons in Stereo. For now, that's all, folks.